Hello everybody, here's Anna, also known as Anita on Ravelry and Instagram, and my last podcast is over a year ago. I think it was in October 2024. And for those of you who know me already, you know it's because I am a mom now. And my little one really didn't want to let me knit or crochet at all. No, not at all, but nearly at all. But now I'm slowly coming back into my, not routine, but I find here and there pockets of time that I can use for knitting and crocheting. Very welcome to everyone who is new to the channel. Hello. I will show you today the few finished objects of 2024 and 2025. No worries, and won't be a lot. And my current works in progress, the plans for 2026. I will answer some Insta Knit Night questions, and that's pretty much it for this episode. So if that's something for you, grab your favorite beverage and your favorite work in progress, make yourself cozy and comfortable, and let me tell you about my knitting and crocheting. Okay, I was going to film this episode a little earlier in the day so we could use a little bit of the natural light today, but as it is, when you have children, nothing goes as planned. So I hope the setup of the soft boxes and everything is good enough for filming everything. So please bear with me. Please let me get back into the swing of things and to the technique and everything. I think I forgot pretty much everything about podcasting, so I need a little bit practice again. Yeah, okay. Let's start. I have lots of finished objects only as a photo, here or here, I think here, just because the little one is wearing the finished object at the moment, or socks are in the wash, or something else, yeah? Some of the whips I have here in person, so to say. And yeah, genau. I have everything written down for you, and I will try my best to link everything in the description box below under this video. If you go under this video, click more, then there will be a drop-down menu, not a menu, a drop-down box, and there you will find all the information you could look for. Yeah, my Instagram link and the Ravelry link, and if it's a pattern which is on Ravelry and in somewhere else, I will also include that, because I know many of you aren't on Ravelry anymore. Yeah, but definitely, what I will definitely be able to do is link to my Ravelry project pages. So you will definitely find that. I have to do all the things here, the podcast things, on several days. So yesterday I updated my software, took out all the equipment and prepared it and set it up. Today I'm recording. Today is the 28th. It's Sunday. Tomorrow probably I will find the time to edit, maybe in one sitting. That would be amazing. And then I will load up. So probably you will see it Tuesday or Wednesday. I don't know. Everything is different here around now, but we will make it. Okay, I will start with November 2024. In November 2024, after my last podcast, I finished a hat, and you see it here on the screen. The hat is made out of Chelsea Luxe chunky yarn. I think the dye is located in New Jersey, and I used 6mm needles. I cast on 60 stitches. This lady had a pattern specifically for this type of yarn. It's called Chunky Chelsea Hat. So I cast on the 60 stitches. I did a 1x1 twisted rib, and the rest is as the pattern suggested. So I assume the twisted rib was my modification, and it fits perfectly. I wear it every day now, and I really like it. It's also pretty enough for church, for example. I don't like to wear all the crazy things when I go to church. I can do that. I can wear these scrappy things when I walk the dog or so, but that's very, very classy in my opinion. And I add a faux fur pom-pom to that. That's that. Oh, then the next finished object I have here, I finished this in November as well, so November 2024, shortly before the baby arrived. So here is a pair of fingerless mittens out of sport weight yarn. I dyed this. It was part of my sock set, Baby It's Cold Outside. It's a rustic wool, so like Opal or Regia. So it's sturdy for walking the dog and so on. Because I have one pair out of merino yarn. Again, great for church, but not so great if you are holding the leash and it's rubbing against this all the time. Or if you, I don't know, do something outside, it has to be a little bit more sturdy. The pattern I used is by Tin Can Knits. Tin Can Knits has many lovely free basic patterns, and it's called Simplest Mitts, I think. Wait. World's Simplest Mittens by Tin Can Knits. Yeah, I will see what I wrote down here. I used the instructions for DK weight yarn and made some modifications. I cast on 44 stitches, knit 12 rounds of 2x2 ribbing. Can you see that? You know, it's sport weight, but I used the DK weight pattern, so that's why I had to modify it a little bit. After that, that work continued until I reached 7.5 centimeters. Then I knit the thumb gusset, increase up to 17 stitches for the thumb. But I wrote down 15 would have been better. That's true, because it's a little, it's not too big, but I would prefer it to be a little bit more snug. So 15 stitches would be enough for sport weight yarn. After separating the thumb, I knit the hand stockinette for 7 rounds and then 2x2 ribbing for 9 rounds for the thumb. I picked up 3 stitches to close the gap. I have these notes in my project page on Ravelry as well. Yeah, and I wrote down, next time all ribbing I would knit in a 2.5 millimeter with 2.5 millimeter needles, so it's more snug. Then the thumb, only 15, not 17 stitches. And I would prefer a 1x1 ribbing with twisted rib. So half twisted. Always when I say twisted rib, keep in mind I mean half twisted, because I don't twist the purl stitches, because it's not fun. Not fun at all. Oh, and this pair weighs 44 grams. So if you have a 50-gram ball of sport weight yarn at home sitting around and you don't know what to do with it, a pair of mittens. You see, quite long mittens. Yeah, that is a very nice project, a very nice thing to have, especially if you have a dog, for example, and you are outside a lot, but you have to do stuff all the time, readjusting the leash, or, you know, use the plastic bags to put away his business. It's, if you have leather gloves maybe, but everything else is not, it's too slippery, or you have no fingers, and yeah, that wouldn't work. So I need my fingers, and if you use your phone and so on. In December I finished this pair of socks. It's called, the colorway is called Lamerton. I think it's a British city. And so I finished this pair of socks. I think I already started the second sock before our baby was here, and I finished it with the baby. So that was something I wasn't prepared for. So I didn't think I would have time for knitting, but it was so much easier to knit when he was a newborn, because he was sleeping a lot, although he was always sleeping on me. So We can talk about it later if you want. I want to show you all the knitting and crocheting first because I don't know when my husband will return with our little one, and I want to show you everything first before I waste the time for the not knitting content. I cast on 60 stitches. It's a sock set of 3 balls of yarn from Buttinette.com. It's not available overseas, I'm very sorry. And I used, as always, 2.5mm needles. The next pair of socks I finished, also in December 2024, was the Cozy Knitter Advent Skein of 2024. And here's the photo because it's in the laundry. Again, I cast on 60 stitches. I knit a 4cm cuff. Then I did 12 colored stripes for the leg. And then I needed 13 for the foot. So I had a 25 striped advent, so to say. This year I did it a little bit different. I will show you later. In January of 2025, I finished the 3rd pair of Hosenmatz. Of the Hosenmatz. These pants or trousers, or what you want to call them, are the very, very, very best for babies. I love those, and I would still use them for him, and he is 13 month old now, but I don't find the time to knit something with so much knitting. So next, as soon as I have a little bit more time for myself again, I think I will knit more of these in several different sizes for future babies. No, I'm not pregnant. No, but I want to be pregnant again sometime soon, and I want to be prepared because these are amazing. They keep the baby warm. They fit over the cloth diapers we are using. They fit for very long if you fold the cuff. Or is it called cuff? If it's on the foot? Yeah, if you fold the cuff first, and then when the baby is growing, you can wear it unfolded, so to say. So it's perfect. I use the 3 pairs of Hosenmatz every single day. For a winter baby, just perfect. And I used merino yarns and sturdier sock yarns as well, and it was not irritating on baby's legs. Not at all. So really a big recommendation. For if you are going to knit something for a new mom, knit this. Knit this. I mean, everyone is different, but sometimes I thought, oh, if I could ask someone to knit me 1 or 2 pairs in another size for me. But I have no knitting friends here in real life close to me who I could ask something like that. So knit those. And maybe not, so I had this one, the brown one, was the 3rd size, so I knit all the first 3 sizes. Yeah, and they were fitting for a quite good amount of time. Is that the right to say that? So he didn't grow out of them quickly. Amazing, I love them. But they are stored away already in our boxes in the basement. In July, so there you see a big knitting gap. So half a year later, I was finally able to knit again, and I decided to use yarn I received during or for my baby shower from a lovely lady from the US. This yarn is, I love that cotton. Here is, no, I have it here. I think I have it here. Yeah, I used the yarn. I love this cotton in a very beautiful colorway. I don't know the name now. And I don't have the tag with me. And I knit a wash mitt, I think is the English word. Whipped wash mitt by Kay Jones, I think is her name, from the Bakery Bears. It's a lovely pattern. Probably my project pages say how much yarn I used. I think one skein has 100 gram and I knit 2. So I guess around 40 gram. Because it's similar in size. So 40 to 50 gram I think I used. And I really love them. This cotton is very, very soft, and I use it for my baby. For myself as well, but I like to keep it for my baby because this is very, very soft, and I like to have a actual mitt instead of only a washcloth, because it's easier to handle it, to use it, especially with a baby when you have to take care of a gazillion other things at the same time. Yeah, very, very pretty. It has an I-cord. What is this called in English? An I-cord hanger, or yeah, this loop here. Very pretty, a nice detail, a nice touch. Yeah, I like that very much. It was very easy and it would make a lovely gift. 2 of these mitts, washing mitts, or how you call them, a nice soap or something else would be a lovely gift. Then I made some Christmas dishies in July, because in July I was able to knit a little bit. And here are 2 examples. I knit, I think 7 or 8, and I love to use them. The yarn is called Peaches and Cream, I think. Nee, Sugar and Cream. I think both exist. So this is Sugar and Cream, and this is a Christmas colorway. Did I buy it or did I receive it as a gift? I can't remember anymore. I'm sorry. My brain was a little bit foggy in the first 12 months postpartum. So this is one color. It's the normal grandma's favorite dishcloth, I think, with the holes. And then I bought corresponding colors in red and green. And I knit solids, and when I ran out of yarn I started to stripe them, or just used only one color in addition to the one that I was finished with already. And it's so much fun to use Christmas dishies now in the Christmas season. I definitely want to do that for Easter as well. Okay. The next finished object. We were in July. The next finished object was in November. I just want you to see what my life was like. There wasn't time for knitting and crocheting at all. So the next project really was a project out of despair, because I needed it. I needed it so badly, and to buy it would have been unreasonable expensive, really. Especially if you consider that I'm a knitter and I have a huge stash. So it was getting colder and colder, and our baby boy needed some kind of scarf. But scarves are useless, so I wanted to have some kind of bandana or cowl. And I wanted it to be out of wool, not cotton, because cotton isn't keeping you warm at all. And many things you can buy for babies are out of cotton, great, or polyester, so polyamide, but that's not keeping you warm. And if you want to buy something out of wool, you have to spend a fortune for that. And no, I'm a knitter, so I decided to knit him a cowl out of DK weight yarn. I have a photo here. I held fingering, I dyed myself double. It was a brown, it was never in my shop. Or was it my own hand-dyed yarn? Or probably it was a homespun house. No, I think it was my hand-dyed yarn. Yes, and do I have the stitch count here? No, probably I will write it on the screen. I looked up several sources online, but I didn't find anything in English or German that I really wanted to knit. So I combined many different patterns and was winging it, and I was successful. It fits perfectly. I can snug it under his pullover to really keep him warm, so no skin is sticking out. And he wears it every single day. He's wearing it right now outside with my husband. And it wouldn't be bad to have a second one, but I have to use my knitting time wisely, and the next thing he needs is a pair of socks, and I'm working on them already. So this is, I used 3.5mm needles. Yeah, and the stitches I don't know on the top of my head, but you can probably read them on the screen. This was amazing knit. That's a thing for a winter baby as well. I would recommend. I don't know how important it is for a newborn, because you get many things for newborns. But so you can buy them easily. But yeah, for his size, so for a 1-year-old, wasn't so easy. December, we come to the last finished object. Yeah, in December 2025 was my pair of Advent socks by the Cozy Knitter. This time I knit the leg 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. This time I did the 13 stripes on the leg, just to find out that again I needed all in all 25 stripes, so 12 stripes on the foot. Probably my gauge has changed, I don't know. I only knit this during nap times when I was sitting or laying directly next to my boy, because he wasn't sleeping alone at all during that time. So I decided to knit while he sleeps, because I can't knit something with 5 needles while he is awake. I have to be able to throw the things away immediately, because otherwise he's bringing himself in trouble all the time. He's a toddler, so you know how it goes. I used the contrasting mini skein you can order with your Advent skein. I had much left over from last year, so I used that, the off-white, or how it's called, and 60 stitches, 2.5mm needles, and on DP ends as always. I haven't worn them yet because I don't know, I wanted to keep them nice and neat as long as possible. Works in progress. Now we come to works in progress. Okay, I think I will go off script here now. No, I won't go off script. I have mommy brain, so I will keep the Reihenfolge in German, the order of the script. Okay, Christmas socks. It's a never-ending story with these socks. I have cast on the 3rd time, I think. I first cast them on many years ago for Christmas Eve cast on, and I cast on too many stitches because I didn't anticipate how thick the yarn is, so the socks would have been very sloppy. And I finished the first sock. This was cast on for a year or 2 maybe already, and I finished it, and it was the first sock I finished after an entire year. So before I finished my Advent socks. And it was like, you know, sometimes people say it's like riding the bike, you don't forget how you do it. I can't say that about knitting. Imagine how many socks I knit in my life already, and I was clueless when I was picking them up again. So I knit them 1 or 2 centimeters, now maybe 1.5 centimeters too short. They fit, but I would prefer them a little bit longer so they are not that snug. So, but here's the first finished sock. Yeah, I think the colors show correctly. And the second sock is, I'm on the heel flap. Yeah, I am on the heel flap, and I have a pretty Advent Christmas progress keeper from Etsy, I think. A Christmas cake. But I wasn't knitting so much on them during the month of December because these were the only socks I was able to knit during nap time. So usually it was I finished one stripe on both socks or on one sock because I knit them concurrently, and then our toddler awoke, so I had to get up and do mom stuff. The next work in progress is a new cast on, because as a mom, so because as the mom of this specific child I have, I don't find much time to knit and be able to concentrate, for example, on a pattern, like with many instructions or color work or something. And even if he sleeps, I am on high alert, because oftentimes he awakes and needs me. And I have to go immediately, so he doesn't fully awake. Yeah. And throughout the day, finally, I'm so proud of him. He is able to play on his own a little bit. I'm sitting next to him, and he plays with his Matchbox cars and so on. And he doesn't need me constantly. And then I'm sitting there. And I don't want to sit there and scroll on my phone. But I also don't want to sit there and only look at him playing, because that would be a time I could use for myself. So I decided to start a project that I can drop immediately if he does something he isn't supposed to do, for example. And this project is a Granny Stripes blanket, or a Granny Stripe blanket, out of several Opal yarns out of the same collection, and I added 2 balls of yarn approximately that are similar to the dyeing method of that collection. So let me first show you the blanket. So I use up 1 ball of yarn and entirely, is that a word? So the entire ball, 100-gram ball, and then I add 2 rows of a matching color, a unicolor, also Opal yarn, and then I attach the next ball. So the yarn collection from Opal is called Funny Fruits. I had them in my shop in 2023, I think. So that's the tag. And here you see how the socks knit up. So it's more of, it's like a speckled sock, or semi-solid or so. And then I think this color here was my Opal abo, the Opal subscription, and it's a ball from May 2023. Yeah, and I think I will use, what did I write it down? No, but I think I will use approximately 10 balls of yarn. So in the collection has 8 balls of yarn. So in addition to this one, which is from another collection, I will add 1 other ball of another collection, which looks very similar to Funny Fruits, because I don't think you can see a difference. And that would be enough for a huge blanket. So I use a 3mm hook, and I cast on, do you say cast on in crochet as well? So I chained 240 stitches. Yeah, 240 stitches. Yeah, and I think that's the information you need to know. Now I'm on this green cake, and I was very surprised how much crochet I was able to get done. So it's, let me see, it's not my wingspan, but it's very, very wide. Oops. So that's always my favorite blanket size. This, I would say 120 centimeters. So my arm span is, I think, approximately 140, and I do 120. And as you can see, as a mom, you have much time to crochet or to knit. But let me put it this way, I don't always have the same quality of time, as I told you. So I barely ever get an hour or half an hour of time where I can really focus only on this one thing. If I get this time, I would, for example, knit something like a sweater or so. But if I sit in the living room and he is playing with his toys and just needs me to be around, I will sit next to him and crochet on this blanket. And I am sure I will have many lovely memories attached to this blanket because of that. That's an advice or a hint for you if you are in a similar situation. That was a great way for me to not feel, I don't know, useless, or I don't know. Because it's not like I don't have to do anything, but sometimes he needs me around, so I can't go into the kitchen and clean up or cook or something, because then he will toddle after me and is, how do you say that? Not uneven, he is he's not calm, he's like needy and so on. But he would be very calm and content if he's playing, if he's able to play and I sit next to him. And sometimes I don't even have to play with him. He just wants to do his thing, but mommy has to be around. And that's the time I can use for a very easy project like that. And knitting needles, maybe if you knit a garter scarf or so, that would be probably possible as well. Maybe on circs or so. Yeah, but this is for me the safest project also because if you do a mistake, the unraveling is so much easier. It's so much easier to fix a mistake in crochet. Okay, the next work in progress is also a crochet project. I've started it 2024 in Advent with an Advent calendar I received from my knitting friend in South Carolina, Christina, if you're watching, hi. And she had lovely yarns for me in this Advent calendar. And I was crocheting a little bit more than... so I had more crafting time when my little one was a newborn. So here and there, our boy is born in November and I was crocheting on this in December. And as you can see, I made a little bit of progress on my crochet blanket. So all the Advent calendar minis are crocheted into that already, and I even started a few other, or added a few other squares. What is this? This is a corner to corner blanket, but not as the usual corner to corner blanket. As you see, you start at one corner of the blanket, increase, 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 and then decrease, 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 because I wanted to have a more clean, tidy look, like with a Cozy Memories blanket, and that's why I decided to make the patchwork style. And the video tutorial I used is in my Ravelry project page, and I will link it down below. I use a 2.5mm hook and I make 12 by 12 squares. That's how much how far I get with a 10-gram mini of fingering weight yarn. I hope I didn't rush through everything too much. But I really want to tell you everything I want to tell you and show you before my boys come back. So one row has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 squares. And it's, I would say, 120 centimeters again, as my other blanket. And I have finished 3 rows. And in the fourth row, one is missing. This project is not so easy to work on now because I have to turn it all the time because of the nature of the stitch. And it's a little bit more fiddly with attaching new yarns and attaching the little blocks on the pre-existing block. And it sounds weird if you think about it, because that's a very mindless, easy project. But not with a very active toddler. Not for me, at least. I learned something, probably I can say the hard way. Every mom is different and every child is different. I came across a podcaster lately for Vlogmas who has a 15-month-old daughter, and she can record her podcast with her daughter in the same room behind the camera, so she's not visible. And you barely notice that there is a child around. That would never work with my boy. Never. He would be crawling to me and he would want to sit on my lap, and he wants to cuddle with me and play with me. And I love that. I love that he is like that. But that also means that podcasting or time for myself, like sitting there and knitting something, is a rare thing. So I have to plan and work around it. But that's okay, because I love being his mom. It's the best thing ever. And I was waiting to be a mom for so many years, so I won't complain about it. Sleep, though. Sleep is another topic, so a little bit more of it would be nice. Now we come to, okay, these were all my finished objects and all my works in progress. Now we come to, no, that's not true. That's not true. I have 2 more works in progress. I'm sorry. Okay, I hope I don't stress you. I started a sock for Tommy because I thought a vanilla sock is something always nice to have on the needles occasionally. For example, today we had a longer drive to the church and I was knitting in the car. That's something I can do every week, for example, to squeeze in some knitting. Here is the start. It's only a 2x2 ribbing. 64 stitches, 2.5mm needles. That is the ball. I had this it's Opal. I had this in the subscription a few years ago, but it was in the Sweet Kiss collection. I don't know the year, but it was, wait, Sweet Kiss in December, and because I didn't write down the year, I assume it was the last shipment I received the Opal subscription, and I cancelled it when? I would assume 2024. No, 2023. I assume I cancelled it 2023. That's that. And the last work in progress is also a half-finished object, but it's not here. Where did I put it? Oh no, I really want to show you. Where is it? I will look for it. I found it. The next and last project I want to show you is a pair of socks for my toddler. And here is the first finished sock. I picked this color because it fits very well to the garments he has, especially his Christmas garments. I cast on. I made a post on Instagram, but I think I will make a project page for it as well. I cast on 44 stitches, knit 1x1 ribbing for a quite long leg, so it stays on the leg more snug, so it doesn't come off easily. And you know, when you have your baby on your arm, on your hip, or in the carrier, the pants, so the legs of the pants pull up so much. And then you have the bare skin and it's cold and so on. But that's why I like to have a longer leg. And then I knit a heel flap and gusset. And the normal way I always do this. Yeah. This is the first sock. And here is the second sock. This is how much I knit today, and that's so much for me now. But the car ride to church today. Today's Sunday, so we attended church. And I used this pretty progress keeper. I think it's from 3 by the Sea. Can you see that? It's a car. I used this, not a Christmas one. Wait, it's blowing out so much. I hope you were able to see that. Because our boy loves to play with his Matchbox cars so much. The Matchbox cars, so they are from my husband. He has a little box filled with, so a cover box filled with cars. And I think, yeah, I asked my mother-in-law if she could bring this box, she talked about it, to his birthday party, so we had something for the older kids who were attending to play with. And then we saw how much fun he already has to play with the cars. And this was the first toy, or toys, well, many cars, he was playing with on his own for a very long time. That was never the case. He never played alone, never. But these toys, you know, sometimes you come across this one magic toy many moms are looking for, so they can once a week or so drink their coffee hot or uninterrupted. And these cars are great for that. And then I have the next yarn already sitting in the bag in this pretty Christmas red. So this is Opal Olive. The colorway is olive. And this is No Name, a very pretty Christmas red. So I want to knit another pair of socks. So he has, as I said, fitting. He has a flannel, for example. Maybe I have this here. Yeah. He has a little flannel. Because I love flannel. And then this fits very well. And he has Christmas jumpers and other garments that go along nicely with the green. Isn't that cute? I can tell you, I pretty much never don't shop for myself ever since I have a baby or a toddler now, and it's not. I don't miss that. So I don't miss buying yarn. I have much yarn left, so I have a big stash. That's why. But for example, Christmas, I was looking forward to Christmas so much for his presents, because I mean, I play with him and I read the books to him and I dress him up. So I do all these things with him. So it's nice to know, or nice to make it possible that he has these nice things. First, he has fun with them and he looks good in them, for example, garments. But also it's more fun for me if I have to use these things daily. For example, I'm very picky when it comes to books. Very picky. I'm digressing here. I still have knitting content for you. Probably I will talk about this later. Or for example, you can also put all your questions, when you have questions regarding mom life and so on, in the comment section, and I will answer there, or maybe in the next video. So I wanted to say that I'm really looking forward to have 2 pairs of socks for him out of real wool, because all these store-bought ones are out of cotton or other artificial fibers, and they don't keep him warm. He always has cold feet. And so I said to myself, I have to make it possible now to find time to knit. And after his last, is it called leap? So the development sprint children make every few months. After the last sprint, I say, now I was able to sneak away after he fell asleep. The first 10 months, I was going to bed by 7 p.m. or even earlier, and I wasn't able to get up again. Because as soon as I only moved away from him, I rolled away silently, he awoke immediately. So all these tips like drowsy but awake, put him in a crib and sneak out. No, it doesn't work for every baby. It would have never worked, never. And cry it out wouldn't work either, because we had to drive a very long. We had to make a very long car drive. Unfortunately, when my mom passed away in March of this year, and I had to go home. I had to, and we had to drive 5 hours. So no worries, we paused every, I don't know, half an hour, and I nursed him and I played with him all the time, and I was sitting next to him all the time during the entire drive. But he hated to be in the car seat. He hated it. And I tried everything to calm him and to cheer him up and to comfort him. I was next to him the entire time. He wasn't using a pacifier, nothing. So I know if I would do the same thing in a crib, just put him in a crib and let him cry it out. No, I will never do that. I never had the intent to do that, but it doesn't work for everyone. And I don't think it's a good thing to do anyways. So yeah. So we had to experience it once when we had to drive to my mom because she passed away. And yeah, that was very sad. But now car rides are much easier, and I don't know how long he would be patient, but we have always toys with us, and we listen to music, and if we drive for a little longer, we make, as always, breaks and so on. But I'm digressing. Plans, knitting plans. I'm so sorry. I hope you are still with me, and I hope you don't think, oh gosh, what is wrong with Anna? She's a different person now. I have to get back to the routine of podcasting, and I have so much I want to share with you. But first of all, we have to talk about knitting. Okay, knitting plans. I am a little bit planning because, you know, I love to plan. I'm a very organized person and I love that. And I was thinking, okay, how realistic is it to finish this or that in the upcoming year? So I won't make a Make 9 grid. I won't do anything like that, because that I would set myself up for failure. I never know how much knitting time I get a day or a week. Everything changes here every day. So I'm always grateful if I find time for crafting in a day, but I can't. For example, a pair of socks, I was able to knit a pair of socks in 1 or 2 weeks. No, that's over. Not now. But I really want to knit in 2026 an advent calendar for our boy, and I will show you a photo of one. But I would like to use Christmas yarns, the same Christmas yarn I used for my Christmas pillow. Probably I can insert a photo here. So I want to knit these 24 bags. In Germany we have 24, not 25 days for an advent calendar. And then I would like to use it, for example, for little picture books or a matchbox car, or maybe a bubble bath, a little bag of bubble bath. Because, I don't know, maybe experienced moms, let me know, 2-year-olds don't really eat much candy, aren't they? Or they would, but it's not appropriate, or isn't it? So I don't think that I want to give him for Advent a Advent calendar with chocolate or something. So that's why I think these bigger bags in general are better for gifts like that. This year he had a picture book Advent calendar, you know, with 3 or 4 pages out of cardboard, and I put 12 or 13 of them aside because he has many other ones as well and so on for next year. So we read them already, but he won't miss them because Christmas season is over soon, so I can put them away for next year. I want to knit more seasonal dishies, so the next season would be Easter. Probably a few ornaments for the tree. Another popcorn cranberry garland would be nice, because this year we have a very big tree, and then a second garland would be nice. And socks and blankets. So I think my main projects will be the advent calendar, socks, and progress on my blankets, because these are projects which are mindless enough for me. Okay. Yeah, I have 3 chapters here, so segments, but I don't think we can do them all today. Anna's Knit Club would be something, but I think I can talk about it later. So I still have my Telegram group. This is still live, and that was key for me, especially the first year postpartum, because I was able to chat with you all, with my knitting friends from mostly the US, but from all over the world. And I was able to ask all the beginner mom questions there. We are exchanging recipes, and it's like a forum. So we have different threads in the group, like on Ravelry. We have a thread for our monthly prompt. So this prompt is this year is like Vlogmas. So everyone posts what they do throughout December and the projects they are working on, or their favorite recipes and mugs and activities they do in December. Then we have a thread for favorite music or books, or the big chat is for chatting in general, chatting about everything. Yeah, that's a very nice place to be, and I love the ladies in the group, and I receive so much help there as a mom, and we encourage each other. We have a prayer thread there as well, if you have prayer intentions for us. So you are welcome. I put the link in the description box below. Live update. Maybe I can say a few things at the end, but first I want to do Insta Knit Night. Insta Knit Night questions. What's for dinner? Insta Knit Night is a hashtag on Instagram. And every Thursday there comes a new question for us knitters to answer. And I always answer it here because my Instagram shows me the hashtags in another way. I only see the entries of a hashtag with the most views. So usually I only see big influencers and not the most recent post. So, okay, what's for dinner? Tonight, because it's Sunday and we had our big lunch already, we had for lunch metaxa sauce, the Greek sauce, and rice and meatballs. And that means this evening we eat small things, so like bread, evening bread. Germans like to eat evening bread. Have you frogged a project recently? No, not yet. I don't know if I can fix it, but I prepared, if you remember, I prepared so many project bags. I kitted up everything and started some projects which are easy, so I can knit them during childbed and postpartum in general. So I only have to grab a bag and can knit the stockinette part. And I started a musselburgh hat. And for whatever reason, somehow I increased way too much. I think I should increase, I don't know, 15 times, and I did 22 times or so. And now I'm discouraged because I would have to think back many stitches and many rows. And you know, if I get time to myself, and I don't get that every day, I don't want to use my time like that. I want to relax and knit and not frog or repair knitting. So that's why I haven't worked on the musselburgh hat, which is so sad because it would be so lovely. It's such a pretty color and would fit perfectly to my huge granny stripe blanket, not blanket, shawl. But it wasn't meant to be. Yarn stash organization. Yarn stash organization. I organize by weight. I mostly have fingering weight, and then this is so there is another category. So I have fingering weight, and then I have sturdy sock yarns, mostly Opal or Peyton's Croy or something like that in one box, and in the other box I have nice merino yarns, and then there is a box with nice merino fingering weight yarns in sweaters quantities, and then there is a box with everything else. So a random sport weight skein, another chunky, or here is a bulky, or so, because I don't have many of these weights, so I put them all in one box. So I usually know, okay, if it's thicker than fingering weight, it's in that box. If it's sturdy, it's in one of these two boxes, and if it's a fine merino yarn, it's in this box. So that's approximately how I do that. Because I have one cupboard and one cupboard only, and this is overflowing. So there's no other way to organize it. And the last question is about whip storage. So I had these I have two of these baskets, this one and a smaller one, and usually I had them open in the basket and I grabbed everything I needed. That's not possible anymore. When you have a toddler who is very curious, and I like that he is so curious, you will get very frustrated easily if he has access to your knitting bag or your knitting basket. So I turned back to project bags, and I'll try to put everything into them I really need, so, and scatter them around the flat. So if I do, how it's called, in German we say Einschlafhilfe or Einschlafbegleitung. That could be our German word of the day. Einschlafbegleitung, German word of the day. That means helping your baby to fall asleep. So you go to bed with your baby and stay as long as he needs to fall asleep, and then you sneak out. So for example, for that I have one in the sleeping room, or I have one project, I don't know, in the purse, and another project sits in the room where I am now. Here's the changing table, for example, and he also plays here sometimes, and then if he plays on his own and I sit there on my cozy chair, I can knit a few rounds on something. So that's how it's organized at the moment, and everything is in bags at the moment. Did I rush through that? I feel rushed. Life update. Only a few sentences. If you have questions, or maybe I can go in more detail in the next video, but I have to wrap up everything soon. My life update. I can tell you now that I am 13-month postpartum. So we hit the milestone of the first birthday already. I can tell you the life as a mom is wonderful. But the first 6 months especially, and let's say, if we are generous, the first 9 months are very difficult. And I guess it's not for everyone, because some babies are beginner babies. I realized that. Some babies are really beginner babies. And for example, I love Dr. Sears. I think many of you know him. I hope he will live a long life. He is such a wise pediatrician and a lovely father and husband. His wife passed away a few months ago, I think. And Dr. Sears has 8 children, and his 4th or 5th child is or was a high need baby, and I think he came up with the word high need baby. And he said, and many parents say the same, before they had this high need child, they were like easygoing, and they were able to go to the restaurant, or they could have a babysitter and have a date night with their spouse, or they didn't understand why other parents seem to be exhausted all the time, because it's so easygoing. They have to make the problems themselves. And then they had a high need baby, and they realized, oh, okay, now we understand why some parents are struggling. And I have a high need baby as well. It was from day one. From day one, only contact naps. It wasn't even possible to shower. So I couldn't lay him down or give him to his father without him screaming for me. And that was a very, very challenging time. Probably you heard him right now. I think they came back. So I will wrap up quickly. So the first 6 to 9 months were very difficult, because he wasn't able to sleep alone. So I was going to bed with him, and that means no time with my husband in the evenings, no time for recreation, no time for nothing. I was watching a lot of YouTube, because I had my wireless ear, so from Apple, the AirPods, yeah. So I was able to watch something. I listened to many audiobooks and podcasts. I was reading on my e-reader. That was something that was possible because I had the light in the e-reader. I didn't need a reading light. So that was my life. Sometimes I went to bed without dinner, because he was is it called unsettled or unsettling? I don't know. And he needed to go to bed, and I too. Sometimes I was able to snack a little bit in bed, but usually, yeah, it was, yeah, it was difficult, I would say. But since I can sneak away, and for during the day naps and also in the evening, sometimes I have to go back, help him fall asleep again, and then I can return to my husband. Since that is possible, life is so different. Life is so different. And you know what? You know what? If the next baby is a beginner baby, a normal baby, which isn't so needy, it will be a walk in the park. Because now I'm asking myself, if other women have one child and the child sleeps every 2 to 3 hours in the beginning of their life, yeah, for a very long time, they need many naps. And they always can put the baby into the crib for this nap. They have so much time on their hands. So I really don't understand why some moms who have children like that, especially if it's only one child, complain. What are you complaining about? You have so much time. You can shower, you can eat your meals while they are still hot. You have time to phone someone. What was very, very difficult. So that is a sad thing I say, and after that I say a happy thing, so we close on a happy note. But what the most challenging time was when he was between 3 and 4 months old. So that is when they have developmentally a lot going on, and they are in this very cranky phase for 4 to 6 weeks, and it was very difficult, and sleep regression and everything. And in that time my mom passed away. It was very difficult. So her process of dying took several weeks, and it was difficult to be able to phone her because my boy only wanted to be with me. I couldn't give him to Tommy and say I will talk to my mom now for an hour or so. That wasn't possible. And after she died, mourning is with a baby. You have to cheer up the entire day, and you have to attend to the entire day, and you have to listen to fun children music so he doesn't scream the entire time, and you have to be the entertainer all the time, and there is no time for praying, for mourning, for what you need to do when your mom dies, you know. Being there for my dad, for example, or I couldn't visit my dad again. I wasn't able to visit the grave of my mom again because I have to drive 500 kilometers, and that's not possible with our baby. Maybe now we will try this in the next year. I want to visit my dad again. My dad was visiting 2 times, so he was at our house, but yeah. So that with a high need baby was, I think if you go through something like that, you can deal with everything. So I feel very strong now. I'm much stronger now. I'm much more resilient now. I can deal with so much more than before. And I'm a HSP, so you can imagine. But now that he can play on his own, and I can sneak away sometimes when he sleeps, and he is more content because he starts to walk already, and I think it started when he was able to crawl. He was more independent because I think he was often so cranky because he wanted to do something he wasn't able to do yet. And who wouldn't be cranky if you are in this situation? Yeah, and now it's so much easier. It's so much fun. It's so cool to hang out with our baby boy or our toddler boy. And I am a stay-at-home mom, and I read to him every day for 30 minutes to an hour. He loves books. He loves his cars. We go for a walk every day with Benny. I'm very happy when I have the time for myself in the evenings, but I oftentimes sit in the living room with my husband, and then we watch through, we look through the photos we made of our boy that day, and we sit there and think, now we have time without our baby, and we are watching videos of our baby or look at photos of him, and I'm looking forward to go back to him in the evening. So it's the most wonderful thing in the world. And if you are in the middle of the trenches at the moment, or if you are pregnant, or if you are thinking about becoming a mom, just let me tell you, it can be an easygoing thing. You have a beginner baby and everything is easygoing. Yeah. But be prepared that the first year or the first half year or maybe only the first 3 months or so are a nightmare. Be prepared for that. I think we need more honesty when it comes to all this mom content. I read a lot. I read the book by Erica Komisar. I watched all her speeches, and I prepared myself very, very well for everything. Breastfeeding and raising a child and high need babies. I read about that, all of that, and then everything hit me and I wasn't prepared. So the life is always different than the theory. And I knew that I knew I wanted this life, but I wasn't prepared for how difficult it was. And in the beginning, and how difficult it can be if you have no time to yourself, if you have no sleep at all, if you have a baby which cries all the time, only wants to be with you, hates the car seat, hates everything which is not being on mommy's arms. So be prepared that it can be so difficult, but also know there will be a time, and maybe for some people it's sooner or later, but there will come a time when they start to crawl, or when they are able to sit, or when they walk. Everything is so different, and it gets easier and easier and easier every week. And always compare yourself and your life with how it was the day before, and not with someone else on the internet you don't know, and maybe you only see a highlight reel, okay? Because that's never true. And I'm sorry, I know many of you are the boomer generation or a little bit younger. I love you all. I have no, how it's called, prejudice or so against any generation. But the generation of my parents tends to, I think they have forgotten how difficult it was for them, because they always tell me, our boy slept through when he was 3 months old, and we never had these problems, and we never had this problem. I guess you had, but you have forgotten. You didn't have all the problems, because no one has all, but you will have had some problems. But maybe you have forgotten how difficult it was for you, because thankfully we forget the negative things and tend to remember the positive things. And that's amazing, because otherwise no one would get children. and a second one. And I definitely want more children. And it was extremely difficult, but it's so worth it. It was so worth it to power through that. And I had my husband with me the entire first year, so that was helpful. And it's the best thing in my life to be a mom. Really, I say nothing but the truth. I love it. So, and on that note, I will close here and go downstairs to my boys, to my husband and my toddler. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I think we will see each other in 2 to 4 weeks again. Bye bye.